Yeah, of course, I was muted there. Sorry about that. Yeah, so anyway, this is Anthony with the VR Game Rankings YouTube channel. It is Friday. It is October 5th. It is 11 a.m. Pacific time, and hopefully I'm not muted anymore because in chat it says Crunchy can't hear you, but I think I'm back in the mix here. And so, you know what? We're going with the old Magic Leap Live timer that is counting down. Hey, Noah, here's a quick question for you. This is completely off the top of my head here, but remember when they used to do this show, Magic Leap Live? Have they done any more of these since the Magic Leap has released and all of that? I don't think they've done any more of these. It's kind of been weird that we haven't had a Magic Leap Live in a long, long time. At least I don't remember it. But Magic Leap is legitimately in the news, ladies and gentlemen. And so let's go ahead and get to the news about Magic Leap. I used to be super hyped for this product called Magic Leap. And the hype for this project, for Magic Leap in general, has kind of dissipated a little bit. It's dissipated a little bit. I cannot lie about it. But there is some big time Magic Leap news today. And so what did we find out today? Dr. Grordbort's. Okay, I don't know if it's going to look anything like this. And that's the exciting thing, because we're going to finally see what exactly does Dr. Grordbort's look like. We're going to find out, ladies and gentlemen, on Tuesday, October 9th, Dr. Grordbort's is available. And Noah, I'm assuming whether or not Magic Leap is giving this to you for free or not, you are going to pay the money if you have to. You're going to get your hands on Dr. Grordbort's. You are going to play Dr. Grordbort's. Yeah, it's true. Noah might be playing this game already, although I'm sure if he is, he's probably under an NDA, probably can't say anything. But I guess on Tuesday, Noah's going to be able to say a hell of a lot. So I think what we really need to do, honestly, is I need to figure out how to have... Okay, so it is a freebie. It's a freebie, which makes a lot of sense. Somebody's kicking out, $2,500 or whatever on a Magic Leap. They kind of should get a freebie. Makes a lot of sense here. And the question is, Dr. See-Through is more like it, is what Bullet 8 is coming in with there. Dr. See-Through. Well, we'll see on Tuesday. Noah might be playing this already. And one of the things I absolutely need to figure out is how to get a guest on this show and how to get that working. And you know what? I've been slacking on that. I have not been concerning myself with that very much, but I got to figure it out. And the reason I got to figure it out is because Magic Leap is going to be in the news next week, and we probably should talk to Noah live on this show prior to all this stuff jumping off. Or maybe we talk to him on Tuesday and he can give us his hands-on impressions of Dr. Grordbort. And then, of course, on Wednesday is the Leap conference in Los Angeles. Noah, are you going to be going to the Leap conference? So the Leap conference is on Wednesday in Los Angeles. I will not be attending that, as far as I know. I'm not attending the Leap conference, but there is some excitement with that as well. So, there is a lot of stuff in the news. Yeah, so it's called Dr. Grordbort's Invaders. The name is a little bit weird, and Noah is saying yes. So he is going to be at the Leap conference. Not only that, he is going to be on stage giving the keynote. No, just kidding. But he might end up on stage very briefly. I wouldn't be the least bit surprised. They could all have their Do It For Noah pins and bring Noah up on stage, so his 15 minutes of fame can go into 17 minutes and 18 minutes of fame. That would be pretty sweet. But yeah, it's in the news, guys, because here's the thing. I'm going over here. I'm going to show you guys on Road to VR. I'm going to bounce over to the web browser with small video window. This is something I really love to use here. And see, I just went to Road to VR. This was just a few minutes before today's show started, actually. And I found out that this is launching on the 9th. It's kind of shocking news, really, because the Leap conference is on the 10th. So they're letting the cat out of the bag one day early. I imagine there's going to be videos all over YouTube showing exactly what this looks like. And there's going to be a lot of people talking about exactly what this looks like. The reality of Dr. Grordbort's from what we thought it might be with that old video that I'm playing here, this video that we're seeing here. You know, obviously it's not this video. We don't think it's going to look quite like this, but it will be super interesting to see the difference, because I'm sure some people are going to have these A/B videos, you know, where they're going to put this on one side of the screen and then they're going to put the real Magic Leap video on the other side of the screen, and kind of, here was the promise and here is the reality. So that's what we're going to find out about Dr. Grordbort's. And the other question, the other shoe that needs to drop is, will Dr. Grordbort's, is this going to be the kind of software that really makes us jealous? Because I don't know that there is anything currently available right here and right now in the Magic Leap world, in their store. Is there anything that is currently available right now that is like, you really want to buy this product because you want to try this experience? I don't think they have that. They don't have their Astro Bot. They don't have their Resident Evil 7. They don't have their Wipeout VR. They don't have their Fallout 4 VR. They don't have their Beat Saber. They don't have something like that. And depending on what Dr. Grordbort's ultimately turns out to be, that could possibly be that. Now, for some reason, I have kind of a sinking feeling. Okay, I have a sinking feeling in my stomach that Dr. Grordbort's is going to be more of a demo than an actual game. And it's going to be really short. And it's not good. Like, it's going to be something that maybe takes like an hour and then you're done with it. And it's going to be promising. I think it's going to look really good, but I'm extremely worried that this is going to be the briefest of samplers. You know what it could be, honestly? It could be basically the equivalent of Robots Rescue, which was like that little 13-minute episode that we got on October 13th, 2016, a 13-minute preview for Astro Bot. That's kind of what Dr. Grordbort's could end up being. For some reason, I would be really, really shocked if this is like a 4 or 5 hour experience. Like, I would be super, super shocked if this is like fully fleshed out. I would love it. That would be awesome. That would be super cool for anybody that has their hands on a Magic Leap 1 headset, but I'm not banking on that whatsoever. I think this is going to be a very short, brief experience that is going to give you a brief taste at what AAA Magic Leap material looks like. So that is kind of interesting. You know what I was going to get into, actually? It's funny, in the news, I had a different Magic Leap story that I thought I was going to talk about. So let me switch back over here. This is Upload VR, and one of the things I was going to talk about real quick before we got into some other things, I was going to talk about Magic Leap's first major developer conference, which of course this is next Wednesday in Los Angeles. This is the Leap conference, and it is going to be live streamed. So it will be live streamed. So those of us watching at home, I'm sure 99% of my audience is going to be absolutely glued to this live stream, right? You're not? What? You're not? Are you crazy? No, I don't think that many of you guys will be glued to this. I'm going to be curious. I don't know if my show is going to run at the same time as this. Oh, wait, okay. This keynote kicks off at 9 a.m. Pacific. So I'll actually be able to check out like 2 hours of this prior to my show on Wednesday. And you know what? This is slightly important. This is actually mildly important for a number of different reasons. I actually have a couple of things listed here about certain things that we might see at the LEAP conference. Now, I made a little list here of certain things that I was kind of interested in seeing. And The number one thing is legit gameplay footage for Dr. Grordbort's. That's what I listed as my number one most wanted thing that I wanted to check out, footage from the L.E.A.P conference. I figure, well, hey, at this L.E.A.P conference, we're finally going to get the legit Dr. Grordbort's footage. We're going to see what the reality is, but little did I know, it's coming one day earlier. So that's kind of cool. But what else am I looking forward to? I am looking forward to the Star Wars thing. You guys remember the Star Wars thing? There is going to be a legitimate Lucasfilm created Magic Leap experience. You remember that video? Let me see if I can find it real quick. The, C-3PO and all of that. Let me see if I can find it real quick. I mean, that is a freaking, like, does nobody want to see that? You might not be that interested in Magic Leap in the grand scheme of things, but you got to be interested in C-3PO, right? So hold on, let me go ahead and this right here, we're going to see some kind of, I believe at this conference, I believe we're going to see more of whatever this Lucasfilm project is. And you can see right here, shot directly through Magic Leap technology, not current technology 5 years ago. Now, I don't know, but we're going to see some kind of Lucasfilm thing on Wednesday. I am excited about that. The other thing that we're probably going to see is Epic Games is going to be demonstrating something. A number of the different Epic Games people have had a lot of good things to say about Magic Leap. They've defended Magic Leap here and there. A lot of people coming in talking major smack about Magic Leap, and Epic Games has kind of had their back a little bit. Of course, do they have their back because Magic Leap threw a whole wheelbarrow full of millions of dollars at them and said, Epic, look, we want you to dial in your Unreal Engine for Magic Leap, and we want you guys to create a really powerful but short Magic Leap experience that can show off what your Unreal Engine can do. So we might get something Epic related on Wednesday. There's the Andy Serkis project. You know, there's some kind of Magic Leap Andy Serkis project we might find out a bit more about. And then, of course, there is Angry Birds, first-person slingshot, the Angry Birds thing. We might find out some more information about that. So anyway, what I'm trying to say here is I know you guys are not that hyped. I know you guys are not that hyped on Magic Leap, but this Leap conference is going to be interesting. It could have some interesting stuff. It does kick off Wednesday at 9 a.m. Pacific on October 10th, and I'm definitely going to be interested in it. Honestly, this may be kind of like the last hurrah for me and Magic Leap. Like, if I don't see some stuff on Tuesday with Dr. Grordbort's and then on Wednesday with the other stuff that they show, if I don't see some stuff that really knocks my socks off, my interest in Magic Leap really kind of falls off a cliff. It would basically be in the same exact spot where HoloLens is. And HoloLens is in this spot where, give me a HoloLens, sure, I would love to check out all kinds of cool stuff on it, but I'm not really like chomping at the bit. I still have never tried HoloLens, and they might have one in Rockland at the Galleria, at the Microsoft store in Rockland. I could probably spend about 45 minutes driving out there and maybe get a demo of HoloLens, and I still haven't done it because I'm just not that super hyped on it. Magic Leap, I still have a bit of hype, but Tuesday of next week and Wednesday of next week, we'll see what happens there. I'm still interested in it. I'm still kind of excited in it. We'll see what happens there. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put on a completely different trailer here, just some rando trailer, and I'll go ahead and check out what is going on in chat. Nobody is really talking about Magic Leap in chat. Ah, man, I don't want to use that trailer because I don't want to have to worry about resizing. So I should really go through this entire folder and eliminate all trailers that need to be resized, or redo them at 1080p. So I no longer have these problems. But I'm just going to put on a random game here, and then I'm going to check out and see, okay, what have people been talking about in chat? But you know what? I'm going to rewind chat a little bit. So I'm going to go to my live stream and go backwards a little bit and see what people are talking about. Okay, so one of the quotes I did see was Hussein X. He says, you know what? AR just doesn't interest me. And I know a lot of people, yeah, they're just not interested. Phil Yarn says Tragic Heap. Why are we back on this Tragic Heap crap? And Phil Yarn is the proud new owner of PlayStation VR, and he's got to say he is incredibly impressed. And Astro Bot is amazing, and the graphics are very comparable to PlayStation to PC VR. They really are. The graphics of everybody that has always been kind of like a PC VR gaming snob that has finally got their hands on PlayStation VR and they've tried some of the best PlayStation VR has to offer. One of the biggest things they come to realize is this stuff is pretty damn good. This is right on. I mean, I experienced some things in my PSVR that is no different. It's no different than something on the Rift or the Vive. Now, it's not always that case, and there are some stuff that, like Drive Club VR, looks really chunky. Certain things really show their PSVR level, but man, there's a lot of PSVR stuff that looks really, really good and works out really well. So Phil Yarn is in a whole new world. He gets to try all kinds of classic PlayStation VR games that have been kept away from him. Phil Yarn, you know, one thing you need to try the static demo. Try the static demo. There is a PSVR thing that no PC VR gamers have been able to play. Try Tumble VR. In fact, just buy Tumble VR. Tumble VR was made by Supermassive Games. Really good puzzle game, and you can get it for dirt cheap. Actually, though, Phil Yarn, you might want to wait for October 13th for the 2-year anniversary, because there probably will be a major PSVR sale for the 2-year anniversary. You might want to wait on that and then buy stuff like Bound, Tumble VR, a lot of stuff. You're going to be amazed at some of the things that PSVR is capable of. So that's what they're talking about in chat. Okay, so you know what? We do have a couple of actual news items to get into, or a couple of things that I can talk about briefly here. And one of the things I want to talk about is 1943 Berlin Blitz. Okay, so this is free. You can go ahead and pick this up today if you would like for your HTC Vive, for your Oculus Rift. I believe probably Windows mixed reality headsets as well, if you have a Samsung Odyssey or whatever it happens to be. This is done by the BBC. It's 1943 Berlin Blitz. You get to experience what it's like to be in a Lancaster bomber during a raid over Berlin in World War II, and it's totally free. I believe it's a few gigs or whatever. It's, you know, like 3 or 4 gigs to download or whatever, but totally free. It's about probably like a 25-minute experience or so, 25 minutes, somewhere in that range. Let me see. I think I have kind of like a little teaser trailer for this Berlin experience. But basically, this is well worth downloading. It's well worth checking out. Let's go ahead and check out this brief trailer real quick, and then I'll talk about it more.
And we're starting weaving. Our pilots put the nose of the legs down and we're tilting away. A furious angle, up comes our starboard wing. It's hitting that Atlantic now.
Hello, engineer. Skipper here. Yes, will you put the rams on, please?
Yeah, so that is available on a lot of platforms there. It was pretty much everybody. I think Gear VR, Oculus Go, Daydream, a ton of platforms have this on there. So you can experience this in a lot of different ways. Now, what was my take on having this experience and how good was it? I mean, first of all, number one, it's free. So, you know, beggars can't be choosers. It is absolutely free. And those of you that have tried, those of you that have done the Apollo VR experience, or if you've done Titanic VR, I believe basically the same team that did both of those experiences also did this experience. Now, this is a free experience, but it is very interesting. I think this is a great way to capture historical moments. If we have actual audio of historical moments, it's actually a really damn good idea to take that real audio and then create a 360-degree VR experience that utilizes that audio to place you in that reality there and kind of experience what is going on. And you do kind of get the feeling of what it would be like to be in this kind of situation. You can hear it in their voices as they're talking back and forth. It's basically this main announcer guy that I think is talking most of the time, but every once in a while he'll talk to one of the other crew members. And I think he was on, or I don't know exactly what happened here, but basically it was a bombing raid that they did where they flew all the way from England through the Netherlands and then into Berlin, and they dropped a payload of bombs, and then they safely got back to England. And, you know, this isn't a happy situation any which way you slice it, because sure, they showed some statistics where, like, out of 100,000 airmen in the UK, like half of them lost their lives in World War II. So we're talking an incredible loss of life here. And then these guys are dropping bombs that I'm sure killed plenty of civilians as well as German soldiers and all of that. So it's kind of bad every which way you look at it. But you know what? This is real history, and it is cool to have these experiences. I think VR can be a great learning vehicle, a learning mechanism to help you learn historical things. When I was experiencing this, I couldn't help but think about like the assassination of John F. Kennedy, you know, audio of that's playing, and then have a 3D viewpoint, although everybody's going to argue what really happened there. Or for example, like the assassination of Martin Luther King, or maybe the inauguration of FDR or something like that, or some of these famous speeches or stuff, to recreate it in 3D where you can kind of look all around, you're looking at the crowd, experience it. This is something that we could probably do for historical moments, even sporting events. Think about the greatest sporting events that happened where you have like an old recording of the sporting event and you can kind of recreate it in 3D. And as it gets as the graphics get better and better and better, this is going to be the way we experience things. Media changes over time. All you have to do is look back at history. Look at all like the black and white photos and all the things that we had where you look at it and you can barely see what's going on here, and it just keeps improving. And as time goes on, we're going to keep improving the way that we examine things that have happened in history. And VR is just the next logical step, VR and AR, to explore historical events and things like that. Super cool. So super awesome. Well worth the download. Not terribly exciting. I'm not going to rant and rave like, oh my God, this is a super powerful experience. I kind of think the Anne Frank thing was probably maybe better than this in my opinion, but this is still worth checking out. It's very dark in there. The whole experience is kind of dark. And 1936 Olympics in Berlin. Yeah, exactly. That would be super cool. There's all kinds of different historical things that have happened where you might have audio for it, and it was done before we had really good cameras and that type of thing. And so recreating it in 360 degrees is actually kind of a really cool idea. So that would be super cool. So certainly worth trying out. So I definitely am a fan of this Berlin Blitz thing here. Oops, I got my little notes up there. But yeah, I mean, it's certainly worth downloading. It's certainly worth giving a try. It does have 17 positive reviews. This just came out yesterday on October 4th, and pretty good. One thing about this game, make note of this. You have to have a gamepad, like a regular Xbox controller. The first time I started this up in my Oculus Rift, nothing was working, nothing was happening. And then I went to the Steam page and I saw, oh, you got to have a gamepad. Then I plugged my gamepad in and I exited out of it, reloaded it. Everything worked great. So make sure you have like an Xbox 360 controller or something locked in there as well. Okay, so let's go on to some other topics. And you know, one of the topics I got to get back into, I know you guys are probably sick of this, but I got to go back to Astro Bot, folks. I got to go back to Astro Bot. I've actually got quite a few things to say about Astro Bot, And the crazy thing is, is that honestly, guys, I think I was right the very first day. That first day when I was raving about Astro Bot, saying it's basically the best VR game ever. Okay, maybe not the best VR game ever, but it does belong, I think, up there with Fallout 4 VR, with Skyrim, with Talos Principle, with Lone Echo, with the best VR games you've ever played. And it's probably the best PlayStation VR game, period. I'm going back to my original thoughts. And the reason why is because I've experienced some incredible levels. Last night, I played back to the honeymoon, baby. Back to the honeymoon. Last night, I played probably a couple of hours of this game. All these different levels that you're seeing here, pretty much tried all of this stuff. And I got to the minecart level. Oh my God, dude. The very first minecart level that you're in, so freaking awesome. I did the boss with the octopus. I did the octopus boss. That was really entertaining. I got into a number of these different swimming levels. I did this level right here that we're seeing right here, but I also did the level where you're swimming in the inside of a whale and the waves are going up and the waves are going down. There's just stuff that is done in this game that is just so much better than I've seen from anybody else. The thing that Astro Bot has pretty much over I honestly don't believe this is hyperbole from the standpoint that I believe Astro Bot may be the most polished, made for VR experience we've ever seen, period, on any platform. And I don't think you can argue this. I think this is the most polished overall experience from top to bottom. Everything that happens inside the headset, every little sound effect, everything. There's no jank. There's no times where it's just blank in your headset. There's no times where you have that weird VR stuff where it's kind of like you got to deal with it. Everything is so dialed in, so polished, so magical. Look at him. He's swimming around there in a little floaty, a little inflatable floaty. The entire level where he is inside the whale, he has a little floaty around him. It is just adorable. It almost is beating you over the head with cuteness and just absolute adorability. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's almost too much. It's almost too far. It is too cute. It is too cheerful. It is too rainbows and sunshine. Now, the one downside I did say is it's probably too easy. It's probably too easy. Lethal Weasel VR says Lone Echo is pretty polished. Lethal, you haven't played this because this is even more polished. I don't think there's anything more polished than this, and I don't think this is up for debate. This is not a question of whether you like 3D platformers or not, or whether you think that third-person VR is kind of lame and you like to be fully immersed. I understand all those arguments, and all those arguments may indeed be valid. I'm just talking purely about polish and spit shine, and Astro Bot is ridiculous. It is ridiculous. Every little nook and cranny of this game is finely polished. There's no jank. Now, is there some negatives? The negative is that the game overall is probably too easy, but the other big negative is I really wish I had the ability to rewind the game. Those of you that are playing this game, you know what I'm talking about here. You're playing Astro Bot, you're having a great time, you're looking around, you're exploring things, you're climbing up on different platforms, you get a little bit too far, the camera goes zzz, and it moves you. Now you're in a new segment and you cannot get back to where you were 10 seconds ago. And there's some other robots that are crying back there that you didn't find for some reason. And now you're too far gone. You can't get back there. So if there's one thing I could ask for, the one thing I would ask for is a rewind feature like they have in like the Forza Horizon series. You know, Forza Horizon. Like if you hit the rewind button, you rewind, you go back. And if you could do this in Astro Bot and get back to the level that you kind of went a little bit too far, that would be super cool, because the one thing they don't give you in this game is control of the camera. You get no control whatsoever of the camera. You can't zoom in, you can't cycle your view around, and they probably did this for a number of reasons. Part of the reason is sometimes they're giving you a fixed perspective in this game where Astro Bot, the little guy, is kind of far away from you, and you're controlling him like 30 feet away from you, and you have to, and he gets smaller and smaller, and you're climbing up here, and then you're jumping up there, and it's like a fixed perspective, like Resident Evil 2 or something. You know, it goes into this fixed perspective, and you can't alter it. You can't zoom in. You can't get close. I think that was a decision the developers made, because if you're always messing around with the camera, you're going to screw it up probably more often than not. And so it's probably better that they don't give you that option. And then Chris Gould says no rewind is deliberate. He thinks it's probably deliberate, but he also agrees that it would be kind of cool if you had this rewind capability. It would kind of screw the game up as well, because in terms of trying to find every little baby robot that is everywhere scattered throughout these levels, if you could rewind all the time, that would make it a little bit easier. And so now what you do is you go through the entire game. You're going to miss a lot of robots here and there. And if you want to go back and try to OCD it and collect every little robot and find every little secret, you can revisit all these different worlds, and you could just go back and do it that way. So having rewind, it doesn't make sense for them probably. It would have shortened the game in a way, or it would have shortened replay value of you playing this through several different times. And you know what? I can tell you guys right now, this is the kind of game you're going to want to revisit this every once in a while. Like I will play Astro Bot all the way through. I'm going to see every single level. Oh, that was the minecart level just a little bit back there. That level is super cool. Just graphically, some very beautiful, gorgeous levels. Some great sound. That one level that we just saw that was kind of like Arizona or something, it has like some mariachi kind of music that's like going on in the background. I practically feel like I should have salsa and chips right in front of me as I'm playing that level. The soundtrack, oh yeah, man. Let's talk about the freaking soundtrack for this game. The soundtrack for this game is really, really good. There's actually several high quality songs that are going on during this game, and they do repeat. You'll hear the same songs repeatedly, but it's good because it's good music. There's this one song in here. What was that song that Daft Punk and Pharrell got together and made a song? What's that song? There's a song that is in Astro Bot that really, really, really reminds me of that Daft Punk Pharrell song. There's one song that really reminds me of that. And then there's a bunch of other really good songs as well. So like the soundtrack, yeah, Get Lucky, that song. Yeah, there is a song in Astro Bot, and believe me, you guys that have played a lot of Astro Bot know exactly what I'm talking about. You're like, oh yeah, that does remind me of Daft Punk and Pharrell. It sounds like they freaking did this song, but it's probably somebody like basically kind of cribbing off of that. But the soundtrack is awesome. The gameplay, see, the reason why I'm going back to calling this one of the best VR games ever, and it's up there with Fallout 4 VR, it is up there with Skyrim VR, Astro Bot can compete with everything. The reason I'm saying this, folks, is because despite how easy it is, and MameFan has like already beat this game all the way, so it's probably pretty easy, although MameFan really goes hardcore at a lot of these games. But despite how easy it is, the intricate design, the creative design, so incredibly clever, man. Japan Studio, oh my God. See, you'll play a certain level and you'll be like, wow, that was really awesome how great that level was. It was such an ingenious design that they did on that particular level, how they laid it out that certain way, how you used the water to open things up, how you were using your physical head to like smash into things. Such a clever use of this and that and this and that. And then you start playing another level and you think, okay, well, you know, I've seen pretty much what this game has to offer. And then the next level, bam, you get an even better experience. That's what's so cool about this game is I keep hitting these new levels that I haven't hit before that have even more interesting, varied gameplay experiences, like doing the minecart level. Like I experienced the minecart level and I'm like, oh my God, these underwater levels, this level where the waves are going up and the waves are going down. I pretty much have experienced all these levels, and all of them have done such ingenious gameplay tricks and designs. I did see this spider level a little bit here, so I've seen some of these levels, but some of these are a little bit later. But just absolutely brilliant. Just absolutely brilliant. I don't know what more I can say about it. One thing I was going to mention too is, has anybody else gotten the feeling as you're playing through Astro Bot, it almost feels like you're on a Disneyland ride, because it's pleasurable and well designed, but it's very easy, so you get through it pretty much without too much difficulty. Like, there aren't too many areas in this game where you're going to be stuck and you have to play it over and over and over and over and over again, and then you finally figure out how to get through it. It's pretty pleasurable. You have to play your way through it, but it's pretty pleasurable, and it kind of feels like a Disneyland ride to me. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and see what folks are talking about in chat. And Lee Bonar, I have not seen this name ever in chat, and sometimes people will come out of the woodwork because they have something important to say. And he's saying he just got to the second world, music fantastic, and the game is amazing. And I can't agree with you more. The level with the construction platforms, that was the level that sold me on this game, period. And then Logan68, think we found the new name for Ant's new channel, Astro Bot Love. I pretty much could call it Astro Bot Love, and I'm sorry to keep going overboard on this game, guys, but it freaking deserves the love. It really does. Fuzzy Dragon says it looks like a polished Nintendo product, only that it's not a rehash property with every ounce of originality wrung out of it. You know what? As you're playing this game, you're going to think of a lot of things. You're going to think of Sonic the Hedgehog. You're going to think of Mario. You're going to think of Spyro and Ratchet and Clank and Jak and Daxter. It has all of that pedigree in it. You know what I actually thought of while playing this game? And this is going to be a really deep cut. But in 1995, I bought a Sega Saturn, and I had this game called Bug. There was this game called Bug on Sega Saturn, and it wasn't the greatest game in the world, but it was cool, and it had some unique things going on. And I'm kind of reminded of Bug a little bit, especially like that level right there. That level reminds me of Bug. It kind of looks like a level that was in Bug. But there was a game on Sega Saturn called Bug. It reminds me a little bit of that. But yeah, it has all that classic stuff in there. It really has that magic. Paradise Decay is saying, I had really cool Lucky Tail vibes at times. Absolutely. But Paradise, I think you got to agree with me here that Lucky's Tale is a great game. It's a wonderful game, and it feels like you're on a Disneyland ride in parts of Lucky's Tale as well. But it doesn't have the unbelievable creativity and just the masterful gameplay. Like, the level design is on a whole nother level. You're going to play this game, and as you go through it, you're just going to be like, wow, they just did that. No, they just did that. That was so awesome. You're going to have those moments just repeatedly over and over. And Fuzzy Dragon, he remembers Bug, and he remembers Bug 2. Hell yeah, that was back in the old Sega Saturn days. And Crunchy says the bosses remind him of Zelda. And Paradise Decay is saying his 6-year-old is allowed a few minutes a month in his Rift. He'll definitely let him play Astro Bot tomorrow. I could only imagine being like a 9-year-old kid and getting my hands on Astro Bot. How freaking amazing is that? And it just goes to show you, because think of the old-ass ancient stuff I was playing when I was 9 or 10. I was playing Atari 2600, and this game is going to be the equivalent of Air-Sea Battle for somebody else. And imagine what their future holds for them 40 years later. That is just going to be crazy. Oh, man, so awesome. Yeah, absolutely. So anyway, didn't want to go too long. I mean, I don't want to go overboard on Astro Bot. I thought I was kind of done talking about Astro Bot, but got back in it today. And I got to say, it's freaking magical. It really does some incredible shit. We got to give props where props are due. Okay, so now, do I have any stories to go to? Not really, but you know what we can do? We can always air-sea battle. Yeah, Crunchy, you know what I'm talking about. Air-sea battle, baby. I played air-sea battle for hours, and all it was a little thing on the bottom of the screen that shot missiles upwards, and little like airplanes and helicopters flew by, and you tried to get points. That was air-sea battle, man. And this game, Astro Bot, is somebody's air-sea battle, which you can only imagine what they're going to see 35 years later, you know, the equivalent, right? Okay, so let's go ahead and check out Upload VR. Let's see what the latest news stories are, see what's going on here. And so they're talking about the 9 best PlayStation VR games that you can possibly play right now. Everybody loves to do lists, because the nice thing about lists is you click on it, and then you click on it, and then you click on it, and you click on it. I don't really do that. VR Game Rankings, we just have everything laid out for you. And actually, you know what? Speaking of VR Game Rankings, one thing I do want to highlight, one thing you guys might want to check out when you get an opportunity. Now, this is for, like, say, the Oculus Rift, PlayStation VR, or HTC Vive. Check out our last 90 days list, okay? This happens to be the Oculus one, 20 best Oculus Rift games over the last 90 days. And we just updated this on October 4th, and this list is filled, absolutely filled to the brim with power, baby, power. The last 90 days have been beautiful for us, ladies and gentlemen. Look at this. We got Windlands 2, Numero Uno, Transference, Creed, Hellblade, Vox Machina, Pixel Ripped 1989, Torn, Jet Island, Seeking Dawn. Look at Marvel Powers United VR. It's all the way down here at number 10, and this is the ranking for last 90 days, and it could only muster the 10th spot because that's how much power is ahead of it. You got Electronauts, super solid. Megaton Rainfall, don't forget about Megaton. Blind, which I think is kind of underrated. Like people, I don't know, I need to go back into Blind. Nog, Twilight Path, which is pretty damn good, I think. I'm liking it. Main Fan told me he's played it, and he kind of likes it as well. Chiaro and the Elixir of Life. Oh, check this out, guys. Main Fan, right now, as we speak, is playing Mario Kart VR. Like right now, he literally could be playing Mario Kart VR this very second. I was talking to him in an email a little bit earlier, and he's like, bro, I got to bounce. I got to go play Mario Kart. Chiaro and the Elixir of Life. Tea Time Golf. Phil Yarn, this is for you. Tea Time Golf. Zone of the Enders 2 VR. Unknown Fate, which isn't bad at all. It is not bad at all. And Vroom Kaboom. This is the top 20 best Oculus Rift games of the last 90 days. And you don't have to click through a ton of pages to get to this. You can click on these, though, for the individual game profile pages. But we don't make you click on a million different things. Tea Time Golf, baby. $9.99. But yeah, tremendous power, in my opinion, in just the last 90 days. It really is quite amazing. Let's see what folks are talking about over here in chat. Fluke Rogi says, Anthony, did you see projections? They covered Jet Island. They had some issues with it, but seemed to like it, especially how it pushed forward regarding the locomotion mechanics. Jet Island is underrated. Jet Island on this list, where did it end up? Jet Island ended up at number 8, which is pretty goddamn solid when you're talking about, I mean, it's ahead of Seeking Dawn. It's ahead of Marvel Powers VR. It's ahead of Electronauts and Megaton. So, I mean, some really solid stuff right there. James Davis 911 says he still has to try Megaton Rainfall in VR. He's only played the pancake mode. Oh my God, bro, you absolutely got to try it in VR, because what Megaton does is it gives you that feeling of guilt, really. It's a guilt simulator. It makes you feel guilty for all the little humans that are dying because you're not doing a very good job of being a superhero. Fuzzy Dragon says, is Marvel Powers underrated? I have seen Reddit threads of people saying it was better than they were hearing. The problem with Marvel Powers VR, well, see, I'm not a hardcore, ridiculous Marvel guy, so maybe if you're a super, super hardcore Marvel fan, you might give it the benefit of the doubt. But really, the problem with Marvel Powers United is it's freaking redundant. It just goes too long. The stages need to be shorter. It just gets monotonous. That's really it's got great graphics, great sound, Great graphics and great sound. Scion VR says, nice list, Anthony. I absolutely appreciate it. You know what? You guys can submit your own list for here for VR game rankings. You guys can submit your list for this. The truth is, if you go to our FAQ, we say that if we don't get enough submissions for various things, then the VR Game Rankings editors makes the list themselves. And right now, I'm basically the VR Game Rankings editors. I am him, her, him, and the other guy. I'm all of them. I am the editors. And so it's basically my list. Technically, it is my list. It's just because we don't have enough submissions. We need to clear a certain threshold of submissions for it to be like a legit thing, and then otherwise we have to do it ourselves. So I actually make this list, and so I put Windlands at number 1, I put Transference at 2, Creed at 3, so far and so on. But yeah, no, I think it's a pretty decent list. I think it's always good to check out these last 90s. Like we did it for PlayStation VR. We just updated the PlayStation VR list, and as well, I didn't get enough submissions, so I made the list. Gee, I wonder what's number 1. Astro Bot Rescue Mission. Yes, it is sitting in the number 1 spot. We have Firewall in there too. You can see Creed is at 3. You got Transference coming in the 4 spot. Pixel Ripped, The Persistence, Torn, Downward Spiral, Bout of Blood, Blind, Electronaut, Zone of the Enders, Detached, Racket Fury. See, this is where the PSVR list kind of falls off a cliff a little bit after Detached. After about number 13, we're kind of scraping the bottom of the barrel a little bit here. You can see Racket Fury, Vroom Kaboom, Hop Along the Badlands, Unearthing Mars 2, Catch and Release, Dream Match Tennis. And did you guys know Trickster VR is on PlayStation VR? Trickster VR is on PlayStation VR. I didn't even know that it came out. That was released on September 18th. It's $20, and that is on PSVR. I'm kind of curious how that happens to be on PSVR. But yeah, we got a lot of last 90-day charts. They're well worth checking out if you get an opportunity there, because it kind of gives you an idea of the best that has come out in the last 3 months or so. Fuzzy Dragon says, Vox Machina has been getting a lot of my time along with the new in-depth content. That crossbow is actually a ton of fun. So here's what I've heard. When you first start the game, there's like a crossbow right there that you can grab. So the next time I go in-depth, I am going to grab the crossbow. I will try it out, but I got to tell you, the beauty of in-depth for me has always been being able to pull that bow back and being able to like really get my bow action on. And with a crossbow, you're just aiming it and you're just shooting your arrows. So it's basically a gun, right? I think I'm going to miss the experience of pulling my arrow back and that subtle feel. That is the gameplay of In-Depth, man. The reason why In-Depth works so well is when you're pulling on that arrow. It feels so good. Fuzzy Dragon, my question for you about Vox Machina, we've talked about the gameplay, how it kind of gets stale after a while, or it seems like you don't have much of a chance in multiplayer. You're just killing people and dying, and it's kind of random. Do you find the gameplay kind of random in that way? I'm kind of curious about that. And James Davis 911 says, I have been playing Trickster VR. The PSVR version or the PC VR version? I'm curious how the PSVR version works. Fluke says, VR Gear needs an automated process where you can log into an account and update your personal rankings. I've always wanted to do that. I really have always wanted to do that. This is what ideally VR Game Rankings, you would go to the website, you could sign up as a member, and as you're signing up as a member, you're presented with all these different options. Like you can say what kind of headsets you own. You check all applicable headsets that you own. You can even dial in what your Intel CPU is, what graphics cards you have, the specs of your PC rig. You could dial all that in. You could have all your headsets in there, and then it would give you all these drop-down menus of all the different libraries of these different platforms, and you could put all your favorite games on there, and then everybody could have their profile page that would have all their favorite games, and then that would just automatically go into the system. I've always wanted to do that. Unfortunately, the system that I'm working with, I don't know, it would be super complicated for me to do that, or I might go to a new hosting system to have to be able to do that. I would love to do that. That's something I'd love to do. It's a great idea. I've always thought about it, but definitely a great idea. Jim Perona says, apologies if I missed it, but have you mentioned Twin Peaks VR? We talked about it yesterday. We talked about that for a little bit yesterday, Twin Peaks VR. Unfortunately, there's not a ton of information available about Twin Peaks VR. And Rob Smith says, hey, bro, I'm going to throw out my top 10 PSVR games right here in chat. So he's going with Astro Bot, Sprint Vector, RE7, Wipeout VR, Moss, Skyrim, Super Hot, Rush of Blood, Firewall, and Static. And you know what? I can't argue with any of those. The only one of those that kind of jumps out to me as being a little bit odd is maybe Sprint Vector, but I've never tried Sprint Vector on PlayStation VR. It could be really good on PSVR. Have you tried To the Top, Rob Smith? Because that is pretty damn good on PSVR. That one was pretty well. Okay. James Davis is playing the PC version of Trickster VR. Yeah, I was just curious if anybody tried the PlayStation VR version, if they're liking it. Kind of curious about that. But anyway, yeah. Chevy says, that's a great idea, Anthony. Yeah, I've had that idea since the very beginning. It makes perfect sense. It really does. But it would take some effort to get that going. And I need, you know what I really need? I need the ultimate web designer that happens to be an incredible VR nut, like is totally obsessed with VR gaming, happens to be unemployed, happens to have already hit the lottery and not really need any money, and then can come and help me out and make VR Game Rankings the website that it really needs to be. That would be super awesome. So I will continue to wait until the UFO drops somebody in my backyard that has all of these qualities. Until then, I'll just try to do the best I can. But let's see here. Do we have some other news that we can go to? You know, we could go ahead and check out and see what Road to VR's top stories are. Let's see real quick. So bouncing over to Road to VR, and the date for Dr. Grordbort's Invaders, it is next Tuesday, October 9th. Even if you hate Magic Leap, you got to be halfway curious about this. You got to be a little bit curious. Here's an interesting story right here. Oculus job listing reveals that Oculus has an interest in creating location-based VR games, and that Oculus might actually get involved in this business. So what we're talking about here is Oculus might go down the road of creating something similar to the Void, something somewhat similar to the Void that would probably feature the Oculus Quest system, and they would build basically arena scale kind of experiences, or maybe smaller experiences that would kind of work with the Oculus Quest and with future products like that. And they might go down the location-based entertainment road, which is something I'm super interested in. So Oculus, if you need somebody to help you out with this, there's nothing I'm more interested in than the idea of trying to create the maximum amount of immersion that you could possibly create in a location-based experience. That's what I'm super interested in doing. I would love to work on that. I'd love to be a producer that would work with the developers and constantly iterate and prototype little experiences that you could have in a location-based entertainment. So that's my application. If you happen to work for Oculus, pass it along to Zuck, okay? Pass it along to Zuck. But yeah, that's kind of interesting that they might get involved in that. Certainly interesting, to be sure. Let's go back to their the main Road to VR page here. Another thing they're talking about, there are no plans at this time for Astro Bot co-op multiplayer. Kind of a bit of a Debbie Downer here. Some people saw on the back of the Astro Bot box that it mentioned something about multiplayer, but no plans at this time for that. And then, you guys know Box VR? Box VR is free this weekend on Rift, on Vive, on Windows VR. I guess, is it free on Steam? Starting today, October 5th at 10 a.m. Pacific time. So if you guys want to work up a sweat, if you want to start using those things, if you want to put some covers over your Rift so it doesn't get soaking wet, you can go ahead and do that because Box VR is going to be free this weekend. And that gives us an opportunity. Man, I got to resize this trailer. How have I not fixed my Box VR trailer when it's such an important trailer? Such a very important trailer, and I've never converted it to 1080p. But yeah, this is free for the weekend. James Davis 911, he is rocking and ready to go. So he's going to try getting a little bit sweaty with Box VR. It's funny because I know Box VR has had a number of updates, and I know they did a certain update that pissed a ton of people off, and a ton of people were like, no, it was better before. And so I'm curious, I haven't been in this a while. I did try Box VR one time, played it for a while. I kind of liked it. It's pretty cool. I mean, it's kind of like a Beat Saber, but a little bit more exercise than Beat Saber probably. It's basically Beat Saber and Creed had a baby. That's pretty much Box VR in a nutshell. Beat Saber and Creed had a straight up baby. That's all you got to say about Box VR. And then Chris Gould says, when is there going to be a free weekend on Yoga VR? Dude, I cannot play that trailer. I cannot play that trailer. I feel like the police are going to come and take me away if I play that trailer. So I just cannot do it. So you won't see me doing that. And then Hussein X says, I don't understand. What's so erotic? Did we say there's something erotic about this video? You know what's erotic, folks. That neck beard. That neck beard is highly erotic. No, I'm not going down that road. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what it is about this trailer. It's just kind of a cool trailer, don't you think? But anyway, I'll switch up now. Now you guys are making me freaking conscious of this trailer. I feel like I'm doing something bad again. I feel like the police are going to come take me away. So you know what? I'm going to put on Dr. Splorchy, which is a really nice, colorful trailer. Squanch Games. Of course, I will have to resize. I really need to go through my entire folder and make everything 1080 pizzle. 1080 pizzle for the whizzle. Okay, so yeah, guys, you know what? So I don't know if there's anything else really to get into. We're kind of winding down the show here a little bit. I might be able to bounce over and check some of these subreddits real quick and see if anything big is going on. But not really seeing a heck of a lot. So might just want to end the show right about now. But I definitely need to check out that projections video, Tested, talking about Windlands 2, Jet Island, and The Void. There are a lot of good videos that are going on right now. I'll bounce over to the Oculus subreddit just for a quick second, because one thing I'm noticing here is Ultra Wings is on sale. It's normally $20. It's down to $11. Ultra Wings is a really good game on a lot of platforms. Like Ultra Wings is really good on PlayStation VR. It's a really good PlayStation VR game. It's a really good game on the Oculus Go. It's a good game on the Rift and the Vive. It's basically good everywhere. Ultra Wings is a damn fine game. I give much love to Bit Planet Games. I think they did a very good job with that game on a lot of various platforms. And Township, that game Township, I believe got another update. There's the VR Minute, which is kind of like their little podcast. This is just a test podcast. They always do their VR Minute. That's always good to listen to. Hey, one thing I was super curious about, with Astro Bot doing so well with mainstream gaming media, one thing that I'm super curious, I used to always listen to Giant Bomb, the Giant Bombcast, their podcasts. Like the Giant Bombcast and DLC with Jeff Kanata, those were probably my two favorite podcasts of all the podcasts I used to listen to back in my pancake days. I listened to Bombcast all the time. I listened to all kinds of podcasts. I was a podcast junkie back in the days. And I'm really curious to see what Jeff Gertsmann is saying about Astro Bot, or what Jeff Gertsmann might say about Transference, or did Jeff Gertsmann play Windlands 2? I'm kind of curious about or Jeff Kanata, on DLC, what did he think of Transference? What did he think of Windlands 2? Is he raving about Astro Bot? Kind of curious what when is mainstream, when are they going to come over to VR? How are they still interested in flat? How does flat still do it for them? I know Flat pays the bills. Flat Gaming pays the bills for a lot of these websites like IGN and all of that. There aren't enough VR fans to cover it. But you would think, like, people that actually work there, aren't they bored of these pancake games by now? Like, they're still actually legitimately entertained by these pancake games. I know they're raving about God of War and Spider-Man and Red Dead Redemption, so I guess maybe they can still survive in Pancake World, but it seems quite bizarre to me. But anyway, guys, I'm going to go ahead and bounce out of here. We've been going for roughly 1 hour. It is Friday. It is a fun day. And there's a lot of VR games I want to get into and screw around with. I kind of want to put Twilight Path to bed. You know, it could be another game that I've finished. I'm so close to the end, so I kind of want to put Twilight Path to bed. But this has been the VR Game Rankings YouTube channel. Once again, definitely go ahead and subscribe to our show. Go ahead and like the video. Tickle the like button, do all those kinds of things. Tell everyone about our show, and we will be back tomorrow on Saturday. But remember, 12 noon. We do it at 12 noon on Saturday, so 1 hour later. But we will be here tomorrow, Saturday at 12 noon, and hopefully it'll be a fun party then as well. So I will see everybody then. Take it easy. Have a good one. Enjoy that PlayStation VR, Phil Yarn. Definitely enjoy it. Tumble VR, Static, Bound. Lots of stuff for you to try, man. Lots of stuff for you to try. All right, man. Take it easy. See you guys then. Later.